There are seasons, dear souls, when hatred may pursue you, though you've given no cause. You find yourself a target of resentment, even as you walk in peace. Some may despise you for the simple joy you carry, the blessings you bear, or the warmth that radiates from a heart touched by grace. They look upon you, and their own insecurities rise like waves against a shore stirred by envy or their own unhealed wounds. They behold the goodness that the Lord has poured into your life, yet they cannot find it in themselves to rejoice with you. Envy of another's blessings is a root that grows subtly within the heart. At its start, envy appears harmless, a faint thought that wonders, "Why not me?" But as it lingers, it can grow, wrapping itself around a person's heart, clouding their vision and distorting their view of others and themselves. Recognizing envy's impact on our relationships and inner peace is essential. Understanding its causes can help us address it with wisdom and grace, so it doesn't take root within us and spoil the good we might otherwise enjoy and share. Envy often arises when we focus on what we lack rather than what we possess. When we see others blessed in ways we wish for ourselves, a feeling of scarcity can take over, creating a sense of longing that darkens our spirit. This focus blinds us to the unique blessings we already have. Reclaiming gratitude for our own lives is the first step to resisting envy, for it shifts our view from scarcity to abundance. Envy also breeds when we measure ourselves against others. Comparing ourselves to others is a fast track to dissatisfaction. When we hold our blessings up against someone else's, we often see our lives through a distorted lens, magnifying what we lack while minimizing what we have. Recognizing that each person's journey and blessings are uniquely suited to them helps us appreciate the unique path we are on, free from competition or jealousy. Another way envy takes root is through insecurity. Those who feel uncertain in their identity or worth are more vulnerable to envy, seeing others' blessings as evidence of their own inadequacies. When someone feels unworthy of love, success, or happiness, another's joy can feel like a painful reminder of what they think they lack. By seeking a secure sense of self, grounded in values that affirm inherent worth, one can combat envy and instead celebrate others' happiness. Envy reveals itself through resentment and bitterness. Rather than feeling happy for another's achievements, envy produces a harsh view, casting judgment on the blessed. This resentment clouds our judgment and hardens our hearts, making it difficult to build healthy relationships. Catching these feelings early and transforming them into opportunities for empathy can make a powerful difference, allowing us to grow and mature. Sometimes envy arises from a feeling of injustice. When life feels unfair, it's easy to begrudge those who have what we desire. We may even feel anger or frustration that they possess what seems unattainable to us. Remembering that life's blessings come at different times and in different ways can help. Trusting that our journey has unique value can release feelings of resentment, allowing us to wait in peace. Social pressure can intensify envy. In a world that often showcases only the highlights, we are frequently exposed to others' successes, fueling the idea that we're missing out. Seeing the curated lives of others can create a sense of inadequacy, but remembering that these images don't reflect the whole story helps protect our minds from this distortion. Life is a complex journey, and we only see glimpses of others' reality. Pride, too, can stoke envy. When we see ourselves as deserving of a particular blessing, we feel slighted if we don't receive it. Pride tells us we deserve more than others, feeding a sense of entitlement that gives way to envy when unmet. Humility, however, reminds us that life's blessings aren't guaranteed and that each person's portion is uniquely tailored to them. Embracing humility can diminish envy, making space for gratitude. Envy blocks genuine joy and connection. If we're envious, we cannot fully celebrate others or connect authentically with them. This isolation feeds our bitterness, creating a cycle where envy leads to loneliness, which fuels even more jealousy. Choosing to invest in relationships with empathy and generosity can break this cycle, allowing us to grow in unity and understanding. Instead of viewing others' blessings as a threat, we can choose to see them as inspiration. What if their success and happiness were signs of hope rather than lack? When we adopt this mindset, others' joy becomes a reminder of what's possible, and we can be motivated by their journey rather than discouraged. This perspective shift enables us to live with peace and contentment. Forgiving ourselves for feeling envy is essential. Often we criticize ourselves for these feelings, which only strengthens their grip on us. Accepting that envy is a human response that we can work to overcome allows us to approach it with compassion rather than self-judgment. As we forgive ourselves, we can gradually release envy's hold, opening the door to growth. Finally, gratitude is a powerful antidote to envy. By focusing on the blessings in our own lives, we remind ourselves of what we have rather than what we lack. Practicing gratitude daily can shift our perspective and gradually uproot envy, allowing us to experience life more fully and find joy in others' happiness. This shift in focus empowers us to live in peace, free from the weight of comparison and jealousy. Envy, when left unchecked, can rob us of joy, disrupt our relationships, and cloud our perception of self-worth. But with intentional effort, we can recognize its signs, understand its roots, and choose to transform it into growth and gratitude. In doing so, we nurture a spirit of contentment and appreciation, celebrating our journey and the blessings that are ours to embrace. Conviction by one's righteousness is the powerful, often silent testimony of a life aligned with virtue, humility, and unwavering faith. Such conviction does not stem from self-righteousness, but from a life lived according to godly principles. When we embody righteousness, it naturally reveals the contrast between truth and deception, light and darkness. This quiet strength is a call to others, a call to reflect on their own lives, to question, and perhaps to seek a higher purpose. Conviction through righteousness is powerful because it doesn't rely on words but on the undeniable witness of a soul committed to godliness. True righteousness flows from humility, not superiority. It does not parade itself or seek attention, but remains anchored in quiet, humble service. Those marked by righteousness are content to let their actions speak louder than their words. They understand that true goodness is not about seeking human applause, but about honoring the divine principles that guide them. This humility and righteousness is often what convicts others because it reveals a heart grounded in something greater than ego. Conviction by righteousness often prompts self-examination in others. When others see someone living with integrity, it serves as a mirror to their own actions, intentions, and priorities. This mirror can reveal hidden flaws, prompting those observing to question their own values. The righteous individual need not condemn or judge. Their life alone can stir conviction in the hearts of others, inspiring them to seek a better path. A righteous life also demonstrates the courage to stand firm in the face of adversity. This courage often convicts others because it shows a strength rooted in faith, not in human strength. When we see someone remain steadfast amid trials, unshaken by the storms of life, we are moved to consider the source of their resilience. Such conviction inspires others to seek the same unshakable foundation and to build a life centered on enduring values. Righteousness shines brightest in moments of kindness and compassion. When those marked by righteousness extend love to those who are undeserving or forgive those who have wronged them, they exhibit a divine love that surpasses ordinary human standards. This selfless love leaves a lasting impact on others, often convicting them of their own lack of grace and stirring a desire to cultivate a spirit of forgiveness and compassion. Conviction by righteousness also comes from unwavering honesty. When someone lives a life of truth, speaking honestly, acting with transparency, and standing up for what is right, even when it is costly, it causes others to reflect on their own choices. Honesty rooted in righteousness holds up a light to deceit, and in its presence, those who have strayed from truth feel compelled to reconsider their ways. A life of righteousness is marked by consistency, which convicts others through its reliability. Righteous individuals do not shift with changing opinions or abandon their principles under pressure. Their unwavering commitment to their beliefs reminds others of the strength that comes from aligning oneself with unchanging truth. This consistency over time shows the benefits of steadfastness and integrity, encouraging others to seek a similar path. Generosity is another manifestation of righteousness that convicts others. Those who live righteous lives often give freely, not out of obligation but out of love. Their generosity of spirit, time, and resources shows a heart unshackled by greed, inspiring others to examine their own willingness to give and serve. In a world that often values taking, the selfless giving of the righteous challenges others to consider the joy and peace that come from generosity. Righteousness involves a commitment to purity, both in thought and action. This purity convicts those who have allowed their thoughts or actions to be tainted by the world's influence. The righteous individual's dedication to remaining uncorrupted in mind and body serves as a powerful reminder of the beauty of a clean heart and conscience. This purity often leads others to question their own choices and seek a similar path of integrity. Conviction by righteousness is also evident in one's words. The righteous person speaks with wisdom, restraint, and love, avoiding gossip, anger, or harmful words. Their speech uplifts, encourages, and guides rather than tearing others down. When people hear words spoken from a righteous heart, they feel the difference and are often moved to reevaluate the power of their own words. This gentle conviction leads others to consider how their speech reflects their inner values. Righteousness is inherently peaceful, exuding a calm assurance that is unshaken by external circumstances. This peace convicts those who are restless, anxious, or angry, for it shows the profound power of a life aligned with divine purpose. Seeing someone walk through life with calm assurance leads others to wonder about the source of such tranquility and inspires them to seek peace through a life of faith. Finally, conviction by righteousness brings a spirit of hope. The righteous individual lives with a deep-seated hope that, despite life's hardships, goodness will ultimately prevail. This hope, evident even in trials, encourages others to find strength in faith and to look beyond their current struggles. It convicts those who may feel despair, reminding them of the power of hope and the light that righteousness brings to a dark world. The conviction that comes from a righteous life is transformative. It encourages others to examine themselves honestly, to pursue lives marked by integrity, humility, compassion, and hope. Conviction by righteousness is not forced or demanded. It is a gentle yet powerful influence, calling those around to rise higher, seek purity, and live with purpose. In the presence of such genuine righteousness, others are reminded of their own potential to live nobly, to walk with faith, and to serve with love. Insecurity is often the silent driver behind much of human behavior, especially negative interactions. When someone feels insecure in themselves, it becomes challenging to fully trust others, to see them through a lens of grace, or to rejoice in their successes. Insecurity causes people to constantly question their worth and the stability of their relationships, leading to jealousy, comparison, and even resentment. Understanding this concept can help us not only recognize insecurity in ourselves, but also respond compassionately when we encounter it in others. An insecure person often finds it difficult to accept their strengths and achievements. Instead of feeling proud, they may downplay their accomplishments or assume that others are better than them. This insecurity can lead to a lack of confidence, causing them to hesitate in pursuing their dreams or fully embracing their gifts. When they see others succeeding, they may struggle to celebrate those wins because of their deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. One significant effect of insecurity is a tendency to compare oneself to others. This comparison creates a harmful cycle. The more they compare, the more they see others as superior, which feeds further insecurity. Instead of viewing themselves as unique individuals with specific strengths and challenges, they become overly focused on perceived shortcomings. This cycle makes it hard to appreciate their own value and recognize that everyone's journey is different. Insecurity also fosters jealousy. When people feel inadequate, it's natural for them to look at others' successes and wonder why they haven't achieved the same. This jealousy can lead to bitterness or resentment, clouding their relationships and making it difficult for them to support others wholeheartedly. Jealousy is not only painful for the insecure person but also damaging to their relationships with friends, family, and colleagues. An insecure individual might constantly seek validation from others. Because they struggle to believe in their own worth, they rely heavily on external approval to feel valued. This need for validation can make them overly sensitive to praise or criticism, and they may base their self-worth on how others perceive them. As a result, they may feel crushed by criticism, no matter how constructive, or elated by praise, no matter how shallow. Another symptom of insecurity is self-sabotage. When people doubt their abilities, they may unconsciously prevent themselves from succeeding. They might procrastinate, avoid taking on challenges, or withdraw from opportunities that could showcase their talents. This self-sabotage reinforces their negative self-image, as they interpret their lack of progress as further evidence of inadequacy, not realizing they have contributed to their own setbacks. Insecure people often struggle with trust in relationships. When they cannot trust themselves or feel grounded in their worth, they project these insecurities onto others. They may question the loyalty or sincerity of friends, family, or partners, fearing rejection or abandonment. This lack of trust can cause them to distance themselves from others or to seek constant reassurance, which can be exhausting for their loved ones and ultimately strain relationships. Overthinking is another characteristic of insecurity. Insecure people may analyze conversations, interactions, and other situations to the point of exhaustion. They constantly worry about how they are perceived, whether they said the right thing or if they've made a mistake. This overthinking stems from a fear of judgment and often prevents them from enjoying the present moment or engaging authentically with others. Insecurity can lead to excessive people-pleasing. Because insecure individuals fear rejection, they may go out of their way to accommodate others, even at their own expense. They may avoid conflict, agree with opinions they don't hold, or sacrifice their own needs to keep others happy. This people-pleasing ultimately undermines their self-respect, as they feel increasingly resentful and trapped by their own choices. Low self-esteem often accompanies insecurity, making it challenging for people to believe in their worth. They may struggle to recognize their strengths or accept compliments. This low self-esteem feeds into a negative self-image, causing them to feel as though they are less than others and unworthy of good things. The more they believe these negative thoughts, the harder it becomes to build confidence and make positive changes. Insecure individuals may also react defensively to feedback. Because they are already sensitive to criticism, they may perceive constructive feedback as a personal attack. This defensiveness makes it difficult for them to grow, as they miss out on valuable insights that could help them improve. Their fear of failure and rejection blinds them to the opportunities that constructive criticism provides. Social withdrawal is another common effect of insecurity. When people feel inadequate, they may isolate themselves from others to avoid the potential for judgment or rejection. This isolation reinforces their belief that they are not worthy of love or acceptance, further feeding their insecurities. Social withdrawal can create a lonely, self-perpetuating cycle, as the lack of connection with others only deepens their sense of inadequacy. Lastly, insecurity often fosters a fear of failure. Because insecure people doubt their abilities, they may avoid taking risks, trying new things, or setting ambitious goals. This fear of failure holds them back from growth and self-discovery. Instead of seeing failure as a learning opportunity, they view it as proof of their inadequacy, which limits their potential and keeps them from fully realizing their strengths. Understanding insecurity allows us to respond with compassion. It's essential to recognize that insecurity is not a fixed trait, but a mindset that can be transformed. By practicing self-compassion, challenging negative thoughts, and focusing on growth rather than comparison, individuals can begin to overcome insecurity. Furthermore, supporting loved ones through their insecurities with patience and kindness can create an environment where everyone feels valued, accepted, and encouraged to become their best selves. Fear of influence can drive people to react in ways that reveal their underlying insecurities and doubts about their own worth or stability. When individuals see others possessing a certain influence or magnetism, they may respond with jealousy, skepticism, or even attempts to undermine that person. This reaction is often rooted in a fear that the influential person will overshadow them, expose their own weaknesses, or disturb the balance they've created in their lives. Understanding this fear of influence helps us see the layers behind others' reactions and prepares us to respond with patience and humility. Fear of influence can create a competitive mindset. People who are afraid of others' influence often see everything as a contest, interpreting others' successes as personal losses. This competitiveness isn't based on a genuine desire to improve themselves, but rather on a need to win over others. It can drive people to put their own efforts ahead of teamwork and even sabotage relationships or situations to feel superior. This fear can also make people reluctant to embrace new ideas or perspectives. Influential people often bring fresh viewpoints, but those who fear change may resist these new ideas. They may feel that accepting or supporting these ideas would somehow undermine their own values, perspectives, or control over situations. Rather than being open to growth, they cling to the familiar to avoid feeling out of their depth. Fear of influence can make individuals feel the need to constantly defend their beliefs or positions, even when no threat exists. They may argue against others' ideas, not because they genuinely disagree, but because they feel compelled to establish their own views as the right ones. This defensive posture stems from a deep-rooted fear that others' influence could challenge or even diminish their own perceived authority or worth. People fearing influence may seek ways to criticize or downplay the accomplishments of the influential person. Rather than celebrating others' successes, they diminish them to feel secure. These criticisms might be subtle or overt, intended to cast doubt on the influential person's intentions, abilities, or character. This reaction can be disheartening for the influential individual, as it signals not only a lack of support but also an unwillingness to acknowledge their positive impact. Sometimes the fear of influence leads people to withdraw or distance themselves. They may avoid interacting with the influential person to protect their own sense of self-worth or to avoid feeling overshadowed. This withdrawal can create a divide in relationships, as one person's insecurity prevents them from appreciating the other's influence. It often results in isolation, not just for the influential person but also for the individual afraid of being influenced. The fear of others' influence often results in passive-aggressive behavior. Rather than directly addressing their insecurities, individuals might use indirect tactics to undercut or dismiss the influential person. They may spread rumors, offer backhanded compliments, or subtly exclude them from social situations. This behavior not only undermines relationships but also reveals an unwillingness to confront and resolve personal insecurities. This fear can also fuel distrust. When individuals are intimidated by someone's influence, they may become suspicious of their motives, assuming that influence equates to manipulation. They may question the intentions behind every action, even if it's genuinely positive or altruistic. This distrust damages relationships, as the influential person's intentions are misinterpreted and the fearful person remains closed off to positive influence. Fear of influence can create an underlying anxiety that affects people's mental and emotional well-being. They may constantly feel on edge, worried about being outshone or replaced. This anxiety can impact their performance, decision-making, and interactions with others. It can be exhausting to live with this fear, as it requires constant vigilance and defense against an imagined threat. In some cases, this fear may lead people to try to mirror the influential individual. They might begin to adopt their style, language, or ideas to feel closer to the influence they admire or to diminish feelings of jealousy. However, this mimicry doesn't provide real security. Instead, it reflects a lack of self-identity, as they feel they must imitate rather than embrace their own uniqueness. A fear of influence can make individuals fixate on perfection, believing they must compete on every level. Rather than valuing their own strengths, they aim to match or surpass the influential person's abilities. This perfectionism is unhealthy, as it stems from a need to feel equal to or better than someone else. It can lead to burnout and prevent them from appreciating the value of growth, learning, and personal development. People who fear others' influence often have difficulty accepting help or guidance. To them, assistance may feel like a confirmation that they are less than the influential individual. This prideful resistance can limit their growth and blind them to opportunities for improvement. Instead of embracing mentorship or teamwork, they isolate themselves, which only strengthens their fear and insecurity over time. Ultimately, the fear of influence reveals a lack of confidence in one's own unique path. Individuals who fear influence struggle to see that each person has their own journey, purpose, and strengths. When they learn to appreciate and celebrate others' influence, they free themselves from the constraints of insecurity. Accepting others' influence does not diminish their own worth. Instead, it can enrich their lives, deepen their understanding, and inspire them to grow. When prejudice takes root in a person's heart, it distorts their perception of others. Rather than seeing individuals for who they truly are, prejudice filters every action, word, and appearance through preconceived notions. This creates a lens of bias, often leading to misinterpretations of character, motives, or intentions. The clouded judgment resulting from prejudice doesn't just affect one's relationship with others, but also hinders personal growth and wisdom. Prejudice often begins subtly, influenced by societal, familial, or cultural attitudes. Without careful self-examination, these biases can grow unnoticed, shaping our thoughts and opinions. When we allow stereotypes or generalizations to guide our interactions, we close ourselves off from the truth. Instead of encountering people with an open mind, we categorize them based on limited or inaccurate ideas, which stifles authentic understanding. One consequence of prejudice is that it fosters unjust conclusions. Rather than judging situations fairly, those influenced by prejudice often rush to assumptions without adequate information. This can lead to misunderstandings, strained relationships, and unwarranted conflicts. Prejudiced judgments lack the insight that comes from truly listening and understanding the other person, resulting in reactions that are often harsh or dismissive. Prejudice also creates barriers to compassion. When we hold biases, we may struggle to empathize with those we view through a negative lens. Compassion, however, requires us to look beyond differences and recognize the shared humanity in others. Prejudice keeps us from fully embracing this truth, as it distances us from those who might differ in background, beliefs, or experiences. Judgment clouded by prejudice weakens one's credibility and moral standing. People who act on biased opinions are often seen as unfair or lacking integrity. When others notice such prejudiced attitudes, they may lose respect for the person displaying them. Trust is built on fairness, and when prejudice takes precedence, it undermines relationships and the ability to serve as an example of integrity. Another effect of prejudice is that it fosters division within communities. When individuals judge others based on preconceived ideas, they contribute to a culture of exclusion rather than inclusion. Prejudice isolates individuals and groups, creating a sense of us versus them. This mindset erodes unity and weakens the social fabric, leaving communities fragmented and less supportive. Prejudice can also blind us to others' strengths and virtues. When we judge others based on superficial factors, we overlook the qualities that make them unique. Talents, kindness, and wisdom may go unnoticed simply because we are unwilling to see beyond our biases. This prevents us from appreciating and learning from others, depriving ourselves of meaningful relationships and insights. Judgment clouded by prejudice often affects the one holding the bias as well. Living with prejudice can lead to frustration, anger, or bitterness as the biased individual perceives others negatively. This inner turmoil affects mental and emotional well-being, as negative judgments contribute to a critical, harsh perspective on life. Letting go of prejudice is therefore a step toward personal peace and emotional health. In a professional or public setting, prejudice impairs effective leadership and decision-making. Leaders influenced by bias are unable to make objective decisions, often favoring some individuals over others for unjust reasons. Prejudice limits the leader's ability to value and empower everyone equally, which in turn damages team morale and hinders overall success. Overcoming prejudice requires humility and self-awareness. We must be willing to recognize and confront our biases, admitting that we may have judged others unfairly. This process isn't easy, as it involves challenging deeply held beliefs and assumptions. However, by acknowledging our flaws and seeking truth, we can begin to free ourselves from the cloud of prejudice. When we consciously choose to replace prejudice with open-mindedness, we enable ourselves to form genuine connections. Seeing others without the haze of judgment allows us to appreciate their individuality and unique perspectives. This openness fosters deeper relationships, built on mutual respect and understanding rather than suspicion or mistrust. To dispel prejudice, we must cultivate habits of empathy and curiosity. Rather than assuming we know all there is to know about someone, we can seek to understand their story, experiences, and values. By actively listening and asking questions, we expand our worldview and allow room for growth and change. This intentional pursuit of understanding keeps our hearts and minds free from the grip of prejudice. Ultimately, judgment clouded by prejudice holds us back from becoming the best versions of ourselves. When we release these biases, we move toward a life of clarity, kindness, and wisdom. Embracing others as they are and letting go of preconceived notions opens the door to authentic relationships, self-growth, and a world filled with greater unity and compassion. A misunderstanding of one's intentions often leads to unnecessary conflict and tension. When people misinterpret our motives or actions, they may ascribe negative intentions where none exist, creating a sense of suspicion or mistrust. This can be painful, especially if our intentions are genuinely kind or helpful, yet others perceive them as self-serving or disingenuous. Misunderstanding arises from a gap in communication, as our words or actions may fail to fully convey what's in our heart. The root of misunderstanding is often a lack of open dialogue. When assumptions replace questions, people may jump to conclusions without attempting to understand the true intent. In the absence of clarity, they fill in the gaps with their own biases or past experiences. Misunderstandings can quickly escalate if left unaddressed, as each party feels hurt or defensive, widening the gap in perception and making reconciliation more difficult. Assumptions also play a significant role in how intentions are perceived. People tend to interpret actions based on their personal context, often projecting their own experiences or fears onto others. For instance, if someone has experienced betrayal, they may be quicker to assume deceit in others' actions. These assumptions can create barriers that prevent us from seeing people as they are, clouding judgment with skepticism or mistrust. In some cases, misunderstandings of intentions arise from differences in personality or communication styles. One person might express care through direct action, while another may do so with gentle words. If there's a mismatch in how individuals convey or interpret intentions, one may feel neglected or misunderstood, despite genuine efforts. Learning to appreciate different expressions of kindness helps bridge these gaps and foster mutual respect. Another factor that fuels misunderstanding is the tendency to focus on isolated actions rather than considering the broader context of a person's character. It's easy to misjudge intentions by looking at a single instance rather than a consistent pattern. Judging someone's motives based on limited information can lead to unfair conclusions. Taking the time to see the bigger picture often reveals intentions rooted in kindness or a desire to help, even if the methods were misinterpreted. Technology and indirect communication channels can also heighten misunderstandings. In written messages, tone, facial expressions, and body language are absent, leading to more room for misinterpretation. A text or email stripped of vocal cues can come across as cold or uncaring, even if the intention was compassionate. Recognizing the limitations of digital communication and giving others the benefit of the doubt can help avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Resolving misunderstandings requires humility and willingness to communicate openly. Rather than letting assumptions grow, it's essential to clarify intentions through honest conversation. By asking questions like, "Can you help me understand what you meant?" Or, "Did I interpret that correctly?" we invite clarity and reduce the chances of conflict. Taking the initiative to seek understanding can often diffuse tension and prevent misinterpretation. Misunderstandings can serve as opportunities for growth in patience and empathy. When we experience or witness someone else's intentions being misjudged, it reminds us of the importance of clear communication and the value of assuming positive intent. Every misunderstanding resolved with grace and open-hearted dialogue strengthens our ability to connect with others on a deeper level, fostering trust and mutual respect.
I know you think you're the man of the hour. I know you think I'm a delicate flower, but I'm here to tell you I'ma take back the power. I like to dip my fries in sweet and sour. Bring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies. Doctor gave you diagnosis, turns out you're just hella nosy. You're always in my business, but this ain't a floral shop. I wish you would begonia, but you never seem to stop. So why don't you mind your own? You've been in the class too long. You singing the same damn song, time for you to move along. I like to dip my fries in sweet and sour. I know you think you're the man of the hour. I'm a delicate flower, but I'm here to tell you I'ma take back the power. I like to dip my fries in sweet and sour. Why you stressing all the time? Stop and give the roses a smell. There's so much more to life than trying to give everybody hell. You used to make me laugh a little, you used to be so silly. Now one day you're a daffodil, the next day you're a lily. Your tulips sure do a lot of flap. You should close them like a Venus flytrap. I don't wanna hear what you said. I don't want your weeds in my bed. I like to dip my fries in sweet and sour. I know you think you're the man of the hour. I know you think I'm a delicate flower, but I'm here to tell you I'ma take back the power. I like to dip my fries in sweet and sour. Why you stressing all the time? Stop and give the roses a smell. There's so much more to life than trying to give everybody hell. You used to make me laugh a little, you used to be so silly. Now one day you're a daffodil, the next day you're a lily. Your tulips sure do a lot of flap. You should close them like a Venus flytrap. I don't wanna hear what you said. I don't want your weeds in my bed. I like to dip my fries in sweet and sour. I know you think you're the man of the hour. I know you think I'm a delicate flower, but I'm here to tell you I'ma take back the power. I like to dip my